In this session, we'll begin the drawing of the bearing part by drawing the top view. We'll start by choosing the Use a Template option and then select the template file ACAD A Title and then click on the OK button. After making sure that the construction lines layer has been set as the current layer, we'll turn on the Object Snap Tracking, Line Weight Tracking, and Model buttons in the status bar area. We'll now draw a vertical and then a horizontal construction line that will serve as references for the circular features of the top view. And then we'll click on the offset icon and add two more horizontal construction lines that are 1.75 units from the first line. We're now ready to begin adding circles and lines that define the top view of the bearing, so we'll change the current layer back to the Object Lines layer. And then we'll select the circle icon and define a 1.25-inch radius circle that is centered at the intersection of the first two construction lines. Next, we'll draw the two 0.75-inch radius circles as shown here. The next step is to draw lines that are tangent to two circles. We'll start this process by selecting the line icon and then hold down the Shift key and click the right mouse button. In the pop-up window that has just appeared, we'll select the Tangent option. We'll now left-click the mouse on the top circle after we see the tangency indication. In order to define the other end of the line, we'll again hold down the Shift key while right-clicking the mouse and then select the Tangent option. And then we'll left-click at the tangent location on the larger circle. We can repeat this process of drawing tangent lines in order to define the other lines shown here. We'll now click on the Trim icon and then select the four tangent lines as our boundary edges. Now we'll click the right mouse button and then select the portions of the top and bottom circles to be deleted. Our last step is to use the Circle command to draw the additional circles shown here. In this session, we'll create the side view of the bearing part by projecting lines from locations on the existing top view. We'll start by setting the Construction Lines layer to be the current layer. Now we'll click on the Offset icon and then key in an offset distance of 5.0. We'll now click on the vertical construction line and then move the crosshairs to the right side of the selected line and then left-click the mouse to place the new line, followed by right-clicking the mouse in order to end the Offset command. We'll now jump to a point after we have used the Offset command two more times to create the additional two vertical construction lines shown here. The next step is to create projection lines between the top view and side view. We'll do this by first clicking on the construction line icon and then we'll right-click the mouse and select the horizontal option from the pop-up menu. We'll now click at each intersection location between a vertical construction line and the arcs and circles. We'll also click at the tangent locations. We'll now change back to the Object Lines layer and then create the series of lines shown here in the side view. Our next step is to change the current layer back to the Construction Lines layer and then use the Offset command to create the two new vertical lines shown here. We'll now switch the current layer to Hidden Lines and then click on the line icon and draw the line shown here. Next, we'll draw the circle in the side view and lines in the top view as shown here that represent the side drill hole. We'll now switch to the Center Lines layer and create the lines shown here, followed by switching back to the Object Lines layer and creating the 1/8-inch radius fillets shown here. In this session, we'll convert the side view of the bearing part into a section view. We'll start by drawing a section line in the front view. After changing the current layer to cutting plane lines, we'll click on the line icon and then draw a line that is aligned with the vertical center line. Now we'll select the pull-down menu options, Dimension, and then Leader. And now we'll move the crosshairs over the end of the section line and then to the location where we wish to place the tip of the arrowhead and then click the left mouse button. Now we'll define the other end of the leader at the end of the vertical section line. We'll now right-click the mouse 3 times, followed by clicking on the OK button in the multi-line text editor window. This process is now repeated for the other end of the vertical section line. Prior to creating the section view, we'll turn off the Show Line Weight button in the status bar area. We'll start our work on the side view by first pre-selecting all of the objects in this view. Now we'll click the right mouse button and then select the Quick Select option in the pop-up menu. In the Quick Select window, we'll highlight Layer in the Properties list and then make sure that Hidden Lines is specified in the value box. We'll now click on the OK button. Notice that all objects in the side view have been filtered out except the hidden lines. We'll now move these selected lines to the Object Lines layer by making it the current layer in the Object Control box. Now we'll click the right mouse button Before we add any crosshatching, we'll use the Trim command as shown here. We'll now start the crosshatching process by changing the current layer to section lines, and then clicking on the hatch icon. We'll now click on the Pick Points button in the Boundary Hatch window, and then locate the crosshairs and then click the left mouse button while it is inside each of the 4 regions shown here. We'll now click the right mouse button and then select the Enter option. And finally, we'll click on the OK button of the Boundary Hatch window and observe the crosshatched areas.